You're listening to Dumb Down Tech, where we break down tech concepts and we go back to the basics. Today we're going to be talking about best practices to store photos and large videos. So how many of you have lost a video or pictures or any data from your computer because it crashed and you weren't able to recover it because your hard drive was broken? Well, that's most of us. Unfortunately, we all go through that at one point, but there's ways to mitigate that and not let that happen to you. So one of the ways that we start with is making sure that you have a cloud backup. That is the number one way to prevent data loss. A cloud backup, although it may take time to back up all that data or take time to download that data again, it's still a good fail-safe because you know that your data is at least retrievable if your computer crashes. And a lot of people don't realize there's people who even take your computer, or maybe your computer gets too hot and the drive starts making noises and then crashes the next day. You just never know when something's going to happen. So it's always, always, always good to have offsite backup. Now, like I mentioned, offsite backups could take several hours or several days to recover data depending on how much data you have. So one of the recommendations that most people make is have an in-home or in-office backup, and then also have your cloud backup as well. So if you have a terabyte drive on your computer, you can buy another maybe 2 terabyte drive to back up everything and have a little bit extra space in case you need it. Now, another best practice that some of us old school guys use is that we would have our, C drive, which had our Windows operating system, and then we'd have a D drive that would have your data system, which is just a hard drive that you would be able to put folders into. But you wouldn't use that drive as much because you only access the data when you need it. But the real reason that most people did that is because if your hard drive crashes, your C drive, because your operating system crashes as well, you would still have your data intact. And all you'd have to do is reload Windows on the other drive and you're back up and running. So that was a technique that was used in the past. But most technique that is used now is with online cloud backups. That is really the safest way to be able to save your photos. Now, there's a lot of different options as well. Amazon offers photos and video backups. iCloud also does the same. It backs up your videos and photos. So there's a lot of different cloud services that do that for your devices. Now, that's all the thing that you have to realize is there's so many different types of cloud backups. You do a little bit of research into what's going to work best for you. If you're an Apple user, it just makes sense to use iCloud because iCloud allows you to back up your pictures and videos, and if your phone dies, you can quickly recover them. Now, it's important to understand that just because you do a cloud backup doesn't mean that cloud backup can't fail either. So if you're really, really worried about losing your photos and videos, just do an on-site backup to an external hard drive, do a main cloud backup, and you should be good. Now, if you're using OneDrive or iCloud, that local backup will actually take a backup of your cloud folders as well. So it's kind of an extra fail-safe, if you would say. A lot of people have asked me as well, I got all these photos and all these pictures, but I keep running out of storage. There's gotta be a better solution than buying another drive and stick it in my computer, and now I have C drive, D drive, E drive, and F drive. Well, there is a solution for that. You can buy what's called a NAS. A NAS allows you to put in multiple hard drives into a box. And this box takes those hard drives and does what's called a RAID. Array just means that it takes all these drives and combines them to either give you more data. So if you had 3 terabyte drives, they would be 3 terabytes accessible now. Or you can take 2 1 terabyte drives and mirror them. So now you have redundancy. So if one drive dies, you can put in another drive and it'll rebuild itself. And then it limits the failure rate of losing your data. But what's important about a NAS is a NAS device can actually allow you to expand your storage. So if you started a NAS device and it had 4 slots, you can put 2 1 terabyte drives, and then when you have the need for additional space, you can just simply add the 2 terabyte drives and add that to the pool of hard drive space that you need. And those are all available on Amazon or most electronic stores that you go to. They have little home versions that you could buy, or if you're in office, you can expand to much larger models. They're definitely more expensive, but if you're a photographer and you want to make sure that your data is really safe, most photographers will actually go buy a NAS device, and that's NAS. So going back to what I said earlier, you can actually even get a little bit more crazy with saving your data, your photos, and your pictures. You can have a NAS device that has mirrored drives. So if one of those drives fail, you can rebuild it. You have an on-site backup that you back up all your information from your desktop or your NAS. And then you have an off-site cloud backup. Now, with that combination, it should be very, very hard for you to lose data. Data loss is still always possible because, let's face it, we're all humans. Some of us move a file into another folder. We didn't know about it. The 30 days that we saved those files maybe have gone over, so we can't recover them. So there's a lot of variables that still happen. But with the best practices that I mentioned, you should be okay. I've followed my own system for years and these little best practices, and I have not lost data ever since, because I was just like you guys where I thought my hard drive would never crash, and of course I lost very, very important information. Now, when it comes to business, data loss is huge. So you cannot afford to lose company or client information. Most companies that really, truly have a data loss situation, about 93% of them close because that was their life. That was their system. All their information was there. Their billables, invoices, company files that were integral part of operating the business are just gone. So it's a very short amount of businesses that can recover from a huge data loss. Now, one other thing I want to mention, with pictures and videos, ransomware is one of the biggest things that's happening right now. And those lock your files up and you have to pay a hefty price in Bitcoin to get them back. So you must be very careful if you don't have an offsite backup to what you click on, what you do with your computer, or what software you have. But the safest way to avoid ransomware is to have an offsite backup. So then again, you're able to recover quickly and move on with your business. So I hope that kind of gave you a little bit of insight on how to protect your pictures and your videos. And if you have any further questions, you could always call my company. We have enjoyed you listening today, and we'll be back again next week. Today's Dumbed Down Tech was sponsored by Corporate Design Solutions. To learn more, please visit their website at corpdesignsolutions.com or feel free to give them a call at 702-350-1000.